Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present the UK report to the 17th World Hereford Conference and to extend good wishes from all UK Hereford breeders to our hosts and all in attendance. 4 years ago at the conference in Canada, I reported on the resurgence of our breed back home, and I'm pleased that I'm able to confirm that this resurgence continues. During the 4 years that have elapsed since our attendance at the conference in Canada, we've seen a continued growth in our breed. Calves processed annually having increased over the period by 23%. 6,900 calves registered in 2012, 8,500 last year. Our membership by 13%, that was 1,190 members in 2012, now 1,345 in 2015. And all current indications appear to confirm that this growth is to continue. One of our greatest achievements, though, is the increasing influence of our breed is having on the commercial beef producing sector in the UK. Overall, in 2015, the British beef industry saw a modest rise in the population of beef-side calves compared to 2014. The first rise for many years, to a total now standing at 1.75 million. Of the 30,500 additional calves registered last year from all beef breeds, the Hereford accounted for over 50%. We estimate that this increase alone required the use of at least an extra 400 Hereford sires, according to government-sourced information. A similar, or in fact a better result, has been achieved in Northern Ireland, with Hereford sire calves recorded in 2015 up by 34% on the previous year. That was 17,000 animals in 2014, rising to 23,000 in 2015. These increases have, in the main, been industry-driven. The growing demand for branded beef with a well-documented provenance, which we have made every effort to capitalize upon, has resulted in another great achievement for the breed, where we have seen numbers of qualifying Hereford cattle marketed through the various branded Hereford beef schemes increase over the last 4 years from a throughput of 11,500 in 2012 to 38,000 in 2015. We estimate, based upon the known premiums being paid by the processors for these qualifying cattle, that last year alone an extra £3 million was pumped into the pockets of the producers of these cattle. In attempts to further develop and improve the demand for branded Hereford beef, the Society has become far more proactive in this direction. The development of a bespoke Hereford beef website, extolling the virtues of Hereford beef, which promotes various Hereford beef outlets, provides recipes, and encourages social media participation through such media as Facebook, Twitter, etc. And at the same time, a Hereford beef brochure produced, all targeting the retailer and catering trade and the consumer. Another factor, industry-driven, is changing specification for finished cattle. Our retail and export markets demanding primal cuts that are not too large and steaks that are of a size that can be cut to an adequate thickness without being too thin and therefore having the ability to hit the lowest price point. This has led to producers already facing penalties for finishing overweight and or overfat cattle, with a warning that if in future they do not hit the right specification, they are likely to be penalised even harder. The processors are therefore looking for carcass weights of somewhere between 260 kilograms and 380 kilograms, which we maintain can be easier to achieve with Hereford sire cattle than with those by the larger continental sires. All in all, the current situation with our beef industry back home moving in a favourable direction, most suited to breeds such as ours. On our internal sales front, the situation replicates the rest of the results, with increasing numbers being sold. At the Society's main sales centres, sale prices for females have over the last 4 years increased by 16%, with total clearances usually experienced, and the bulls up by 13%. Last year, we saw the Society's main sales centre records broken, with bulls selling to a top of £11,500, resulting in a record average of £4,300, and females selling to a top of £5,500 to average £3,200. And just prior to coming out here for our main spring sale took place, where we saw again the total clearance of the females offered, selling to a top of £6,000, and the bulls to a top of £9,500 with an 80% clearance, a doubling of the numbers sold compared to the same sale last year. Around the shows held during the summer, the Hereford continues to dominate, usually outnumbering all other breeds being exhibited, resulting in our fair share of successes, winning a number of interbreed championships along the way. Efforts continue to encourage and attract a younger element into the breed, the Society having sponsored the attendance of 3 youngsters at the conference in Canada 4 years ago, and again 3 attending this conference here in Uruguay. Sponsorship is also provided for a young member to attend Agribition in Canada to compete in the Youth Bonanza at that event, and in 2014 we were delighted when our chosen candidate came a creditable 5th out of some 50 or so entrants, and currently we are in the process of selecting a candidate for this year's event. We've also seen a number of our youngsters competing in various national events back home with great success, and whilst we are all out here now, a national training weekend is being held for our young members on the art of showing and handling cattle. Since the last World Hereford Conference, many of us attended the 14th European Hereford Conference held in Switzerland in 2014, an extremely well-organised 5-day conference and tour where we had a party of 14 attending from the UK. The participation in such events providing a wonderful opportunity to see at first hand how our breed performs in different environments. In addition to the delegates in attendance from the various European countries, we were also pleased to see a number of our friends from Australia, Canada and America, and of course our Secretary General attended here from Uruguay. I know a number of our breeders are looking forward to the next European conference in 2018 to be hosted by our Hungarian Hereford Association. I hope that in my presentation I've given a brief insight to the fortunes of our breed back home. Its resurgence has really been quite remarkable at a time when there has been and still are many difficulties facing the general beef industry in our country. I believe firmly that our breed is at its best when the industry is under pressure, a breed that has proven track record of producing the finest for the least. And in conclusion, I would like to thank, on behalf of all the UK delegation here, our appreciation to our hosts for organising the conference, and we all look forward to the rest of our stay, which I'm sure will be all too short. So thank you.